All right, guys, in this video, we're gonna finish disassembling the whole engine. So what we're gonna do is take out the lifters, the cam, the timing chain, the oil pump, all the pistons, and the crank and bearings and everything. So basically, down to the bare block. All right, let's go ahead and remove the lifter trays and the lifters. 10 mil. Okay, this thing won't come out. I have some pliers that have some nylon on here. Some cheap soft touch pliers, so I'll just come in here, try to yank this guy out. There it goes. So I'll try to keep this in labeled on which hole it went to. All right, same thing on this side. So all these look really good. All right, let's remove the oil pump, which is these 4 bolts here. So we'll definitely take this apart and see, how it looks inside. All right, now for the cam bolts. That pops right off. All right, next up we got T40 bolts here. I'm gonna loosen them up with a ratchet first before I go hit them with an impact. Yeah, those were tight. And then here's a seal. So this is where the oil goes for the lifters. All right, I went through my bag of hardware. These are the water pump bolts, and what you do is put it in a few turns, and that'll give you something to yank on here. So there you go. Now you got a cam puller. Go ahead and give this a little rotate. Try to hold it up so you don't nick everything on the way out. Alright, now that's out. Give all the lobes a quick look. It looks like none of them are damaged or flat, so this thing was definitely a runner. Okay, I went ahead and took a paint marker and numbered each piston because we're going to pull it out, and obviously we want to keep track of everything, alright? Okay, these are 11 mil. Alright, so let's go ahead and bust these loose. very little wear. I see small lines, but very little wear, and then this crank looks good, so that's awesome. Okay, now what I have here is just a wood dowel rod. I think this is 3/4. All I'm going to do is tap the backside here and wait for this piston to come out. A lot of carbon, but you still see the factory coating on here. Very little scuffing, so that's good. And this is number 1. So what we'll do here is put this all back together. So the tangs have to line up. So there's tangs here, so you just line those up. All right, let's do the next one. Looks pretty good. Here's number 2. Looks good, a little scuffing. Okay, we'll just put it together. A couple turns here, and then you can see I have it numbered. Okay, we'll roll it over to get a good spot here. So basically you want to bring this crank pin up to there. Another good looking bearing. Looks good, no spun bearings. Alright, so all the pistons are out. That literally took like 10 minutes. Very easy to take apart. If we look at all the rod journals, they look really good. I think a little bit of a polish and it'll be ready to put back together. Yeah, all look really good. So that's awesome. This thing spins real nice, so I imagine that the main bearings will look just as good. Okay, in order to pull the crank out, we got to remove this rear main seal cover thingy. I can get to some of these bolts pretty easily. The engine stand is in the way. I can get a ratchet in here to get some of them. So I know you can't see everything, but there's just bolts similar to the timing cover, and this guy comes off. Alright, so that just comes off. Alright, followed by this gasket. Okay, time to remove the main caps. These are 6-bolt mains, so that means there's 4 bolts here, as you can see, and there's some in the side here. Okay, so it's 10 mil. All right, let's work on the outer bolts first. They are 15 mil. Okay, these guys 13 mil. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to keep track of them. Main bearings look mint. Okay, one more thing to note is see these little wings on here? It faces the rear. And then these guys have little wings, or I wouldn't call it wings, but little features. Actually, look, this guy's stamped 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 5 right here. Okay, so the numbers, if you remember, I'm obviously videotaping this, so I remember the numbers are here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the opposite 5. Okay, so that'll be my indication of which faces the front. All right. Another good looking bearing so far. So I'm just kind of rocking this guy, getting it up. There we go. Okay, this bearing has the thrust in here. I see one or two lines. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Couple lines, nothing too bad. Careful the reluctor wheel on this one. good. All right, let's yank this crank out. Oh, it's heavy. Okay, now we can roll these bearings out. Just push on one side, they roll right out. Looks really good, which is nice. So you're gonna wanna keep these in position. You know, I'm gonna keep this with the bearing block that came out of here, okay? You always wanna, you know, same thing with the pistons and everything else that we took apart. Okay, we'll closely inspect these later, but these look really good. Here's the thrust. All right, let's remove some of these sensors. This is the oil pressure sending unit, and what I have here is a 1 1/16 oil pressure socket. I had this in my toolbox from years ago. Fits right on there. And we can remove this guy. Okay, so that's all that is. Let's just put it right there for now. Over here is the cam sensor, 10 mil. Okay, so break it loose. There's an O-ring on here, and now we can hopefully just get this guy out of here. There it goes. All right, so there's some crusty stuff on there, but yeah, I want to check the condition of this O-ring here. But yeah, that's that. Okay, lastly, there's a bolt here. Not sure what it does, but let's just remove it. Yeah, it's nothing. It's just a bolt that was in there. All right, here's the crank sensor, 10 mil. Same deal. Break it loose and then just pull up. There, it just came out. So we'll just check the condition of these O-rings. Okay, back here is this little plug. It's called the barbell, okay? And it's plastic and there's an O-ring on it. Definitely want to take it out so we can clean in there. Let's see if we can just get it out with the screwdriver. Okay, I'm gonna try my slide hammer. So this is the attachment for the slide hammer. I have a drywall screw here, so what I'm gonna do is slip it through here. We're just going to turn it a couple turns right into the plastic. And I had it out a little bit. Okay, so I got that in there a couple threads, and I got this massive slide hammer. This is the only size I have. So we'll just put this on a couple turns here, and we'll just give it a whack, right? There we go. So that's what the barbell looks like. There's an O-ring on here and whatnot. So we'll replace this part. All right, guys, so the engine is fully disassembled with the exception of the cam bearings, and we'll address that in a later video. So in an upcoming video, we are gonna prep the block by cleaning all the gasket surfaces, and then in another video, we're gonna have to hone the cylinders, and then it should be ready for assembly. And now that it's all apart, we're probably gonna do an inspection video, but overall, just as I was taking it apart, I did a quick inspection, and there's nothing really drastically wrong with this engine. Yeah, there's a couple parts that obviously need to be replaced, but overall, there was nothing major wrong with it, so that's awesome. That means I don't have to spend as much money to get this thing back together. Okay, so that's it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Stay tuned for the next one, all right?